Thank you for joining us today for our Air Force Sustainment Center Town Hall. I'm Wendy Walden, AFSC Director of Staff, and I'll be moderating today. We have received lots of questions, and we'll do our best to get through all of those questions today. First, I'd like to introduce you to our leadership team. You know our Command Chief, Robert Schultz, our Executive Director, Mr. Dennis D'Angelo, and joining us for the first time for our AFSC Town Hall is Lieutenant General Stacy Hawkins. General Hawkins assumed command in August and has an extensive background in the center. Previously, he was commander of the Ogden Air Logistics Complex in Utah and Deputy Commander for Maintenance of the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex. He came to us from being the Director of Logistics, Engineering, and Force Protection at Headquarters Air Combat Command. Welcome, Lieutenant General Hawkins.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to give each of you an opportunity to make some opening comments, and we'll start with Chief Schultz.
All right, thanks, Ms. Walden, and thanks, boss, for the opportunity to do another town hall. I think it was not quite a year ago that we did a town hall, and I came with a message, especially when I joined the team here a year ago, which was, I'd spent a career benefiting from all the work done here at the ALC and didn't really have a real appreciation of what goes on behind the scenes. And I expected to learn a lot, but I'll tell you, within a year, it has surpassed any of my expectations. I'm just proud to be part of this team. I thoroughly enjoyed the town hall we did last time, so I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. D'Angelo?
Thanks, Ms. Walden. Thanks, boss, also, and Chief, for letting me be part of this as well. Second time for me as well, and I really look forward to it. Hey, I just want everybody to know that your job, whatever that job may be, is extremely important to the readiness of the Air Force and to the success in our ability to wage contingencies and crises if we need to. So I just want you to know that we really, really are happy to be here today to work for you and with you in those endeavors. So thank you for what you do. More so, thank you for what you will do. And I look forward to the questions you bring to the table.
Thank you, Mr. D'Angelo. Lieutenant General Hawkins?
Thank you, Ms. Walden. So thank you, everyone. I want to thank both of my partners for allowing me to be a part of the town hall, because this is their second but my first. And it's really like coming back home for me. 10 years ago, I got a chance to be a part of the stand-up of the Sustainment Center as a DCM, Deputy Commander for Maintenance here at Oklahoma City. Through the past 7 years, had a chance to serve at Ogden. And all the while, in all the jobs I've had as a general officer, I've either been in the Sustainment Center or spending a lot of time working with the Sustainment Center, whether it's an A4 at a major command, or actually a complex commander, or as I mentioned before, DCM. I'm really proud of this leadership team that's sitting before you today. Really enjoy coming to work every day and working with them to serve you. I want to thank the entire center, every single person, for the role that you serve in and the role that you play to keep the nation safe and secure. We look forward to answering the questions that have come directly from you today and giving you some straight talk as to how we're thinking about the future and how we're thinking about serving you even more. So appreciate it, Ms. Walden. Thank you for hosting.
No, thank you, sir.
Looking forward to the conversation.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank each of you. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first question is for you, General Hawkins, and it's a question that always garners a lot of interest, and it has to do with Fit for Life. And it says, why was Fit for Life discontinued, and will it be reinstated in AFSC?
Wow, softball questions first. So I will say this, that 10 years ago, I was in my early 40s, and Fit for Life was something that I appreciated, and recreation and staying fit was something that I did for fun. In my early 50s, it's something that I do to stay alive. So I first want to say that the welfare and the fitness of our people across the spectrum is vitally important, because without the people that we have in our center and those people being able to serve at their best to reach their fullest potential, then we're not going to be able to do much else. So in my mind, when you look at our leadership model and when you look at our 4 priorities that we'll talk about later on, people always at the forefront and the welfare of those people. I happened to be in the center when Fit for Life was suspended. And the stark reality is that we took a look at how we're producing to our promise, how we're performing our mission. And just to be frank, we were leaving about 500,000 direct labor hours on the table. And there was 500,000 hours of direct labor that we could actually support our warfighters better on. It was work that we needed to catch up on. And we had to make a mission decision that in order to actually meet the intent of what our combatant commanders are asking us to do and our other stakeholders, that we needed to focus on our mission. And that's something, having been the complex commander at Ogden when the Fit for Life program was suspended and returning, that remains our focus. Mission first, but always focusing on people. And as we look at what we're going to do in the future, because everyone well knows that the suspension is temporary, we will keep that balance in mind. How do we remain keenly focused on the mission, making sure that we're producing to our promise, to our stakeholders and customers, but also keeping at the forefront how we can create opportunities to take better care of our people. I'll say this as I think about it, and this is not something that I've spoken verbally about, so this is the first time you're hearing it. I think about how can we reimagine a program that will enable our folks to be able to take advantage of opportunities to sustain their fitness while focusing on the mission. I'll say that that probably doesn't resemble the Fit for Life program that you have seen in the past, but maybe something new. And looking for your inputs as to how we can robust this thinking. And I welcome any comments from my two partners here sitting beside me as to how we can reimagine it for the future to really bring back that balance. I don't think it's one or the other, but for now we've chosen just to bring our mission to the forefront and to sustain that part of our sacred trust with you. But in the future we'll have to balance both.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll move on to our next question, Mr. D'Angelo. If you would answer this one, it goes to a locality pay in Utah and asks, is there any update on the programs to change locality pay in Utah?
So the short answer to that is there aren't any changes right now in the locality pay ask that went forward here some time back. Rationale was that OPM, they looked at the rates across civilian and military jobs or civilian GS jobs, and they did not find the disparity that they thought warranted a change in the pay. So consequently, it's basically stopped at this point, but they continue to look at it, and we continue to look at it. I think one of the areas that we probably will readdress here in the future, and not probably, we will look at, is the fact that it doesn't take into consideration, it takes into consideration the cost of living, but housing is not directly related to that. So what we'd like to do is maybe take another look at that and see if, because of the increase in housing rates in that area, whether we need to go ahead and challenge the assumptions that were made by OPM in the past. So I think that that program right now is at a stalemate, but I think we can reopen it to take a look and see if there's anything we can do. But right now, there's been no change to that program, but we'll continue to work it. I promise you that. Over.
Thank you, Mr. D'Angelo. You did that one so well, we're going to toss you another one.
Okay.
And it talks about the vaccine. Is the vaccine still mandated, and when will travel policies be updated to allow unvaccinated to travel other than mission critical?
Yeah, well, so mission critical always. We know that we can do that always. But as far as we have now, there's no change in mandate. So consequently, any requirement to travel if you're not vaccinated would be required to go up to the undersecretary to have them approve or have her approve that waiver. And from what I understand, the waivers that we put out, very few have been accepted. So right now, we would still have to hold by the waiver process, and very few of those waivers are going forward. However, there are other things that we need to take into consideration, and we do ask your patience in all of this. As we look at the way we waiver anything, would that be religious or whether that be for health reasons, whatever, that we're trying to go through the process until we get more guidance. I know, Chief, you had a few things that you had worked on that. Would you mind bringing some of those things up as well?
Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, just that we understand that the injunction, the federal injunction to pause everything is still in place. And a lot of things depend on the resolution of that. And I just implore everybody for patience, and I know that's hard to do as long as we've been going through this. But what that allows us to do is that patience gives the boss and I and all of us the opportunity to deal with these on an individual case basis. And I think that's what our people want. I think that's what we want to do with these things. What we don't want to do is rubber stamp or make it just a process where it just gets kind of pencil whipped and pushed through. And so when that injunction is lifted or whatever happens with that, we'll respond quickly and appropriately, and we'll get those answers to you.
And once again, that program that we're talking about is one that we keep at the forefront. We constantly look at it. As a matter of fact, in the next couple of days, I'll be heading off to a CA roundtable where the executive directors from all of the centers get an opportunity to get together with the senior director from Air Force Material Command, that's Ms. Lorna Estep, and we'll be talking things like this and a few others. As a matter of fact, I know there were some questions also on GRI, the increase in your pay, things like this for different types of skill sets, and we'll talk more about that. So please bear with us and have some patience. We appreciate it.
So great segue, Mr. D'Angelo. So the next question for you is on the GRI, and it says, I would like to know if AFSC is considering a government retention incentive for various series, specifically for the 800 series in the near future, and if not a GRI, how about a student loan repayment program?
Okay. Yes, I better be lucky than good anytime because I get a couple questions right in a row. Yes, we look at all of the different types of incentives that we have out there. Some of those deal with pay, some of those would deal with recouping cost for education, as well as some of the things that would be maybe different types of work schedules. Right now, we've looked into the GRI issue. We decided not to work in that because they're trying to do a balance across all of the centers. So as I told you, I was going down to see Ms. Estep here in about a week or so. That is one of the issues we're going to talk about, because every grade, every job is important. Every time we'll hear something about an engineer needing something, sometimes it's a requirement for an increase in pay because of locality or because of the type of skill sets that we need. And some of those happen to be our wage grade employees as well. So we're going to take a hard look at to determine how we would divvy that type of increase and incentive program out so that we're fair across the board as best that we can be. And also at the same time that we take in consideration the cost factor that drives into the command, because that actually does drive an increase. And in some places we'd have to add that to the rates of how we do business. So we're taking a good hard look at it, and I promise you that within probably the next time we get together, which will not be far from here or long from here, you will hear more about that, and I'll have some more definitive guidance on what we're looking at and what areas we would focus on for incentives. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yes, thank you, sir. So direct this one to General Hawkins, and it asks, why is it so hard for a senior mechanic to get promoted? Is it the good old boy system or age?
Well, I'll tell you, I think, first of all, we, and across our service, when we talk about promotion, I've always been of the mindset that promotions are earned based on future potential and your future potential to serve, and that is not hindered by your age. And as I truly hope that we're past the days of having any type of hint of nepotism or a good old boy or good old girl system that doesn't reward people based on what they're bringing to our team and to our mission and their desire and their willingness to serve in the future. I think there are glimmers of sometimes we see bad behavior, and it's not necessarily a glimmer, but it's just you have pockets of things that aren't happening in our best traditions across our organization. When we see that as a leadership team, and not just the folks sitting in front of you, but up and down our organization, we have all kinds of ways of getting after that through anonymous complaints, the ability of anyone to be able to file an anonymous complaint whenever they perceive that an injustice has occurred. We've actually done a lot of work with how we structure our hiring panels and how we've actually cleaned up our hiring processes to bring transparency, to bring just a level of objectivity to where folks who are desiring to proceed and to move on to increasing levels of responsibility in our organization are clear-eyed and they have awareness as to how they can do that and how they can engage that system. We have not gotten to a level of perfection yet, so there's still work left to do. But at least my time in the Sustainment Center and my time in the Air Force, we've come a long way from where we were 10, 15, 20 years ago. I think for anyone who aspires to grow an organization, give it a try. First of all, offer yourself to serve, offer yourself to improve, and really seek out folks in our organization who have achieved the level of responsibility that you're interested in, and seek mentors. We have mentor programs out there where we bring folks together and pair them with folks who are experienced, but I found that the best form of mentorship is that mentorship that happens informally by one person saying, hey, I like what you stand for. I want to really aspire to be what you are in the organization. I admire your character, and seek out those folks. I rarely find people who are not willing to share their experiences professionally or life-wise. And I think if we start doing that more, and if we start allowing the process to run as it's intended to do, we're going to find areas that we need to improve in, and we'll do that with a quickness and with a keen aggression. But we'll also find that to the extent that we have folks trusting the process and leaders exemplifying the characteristics and attributes that the process demands, that we'll have an organization where there's trust rebuilt and trust sustained.